This lecture is continuation with the previous topic, which was the processing of requests. Right? In the last lecture, we have discussed about the steps performed while processing the request. Right? Some of the steps were discussed, and the next will happen. The server will check whether that page is available in the cache or not. Right? Then if it is not available, then it will fetch the page from the disk. Then it will also determine that what is the MIME type of that page, right? Also will collect the extra information, or we'll call it miscellaneous information about that page, and finally it will return it to the client. And also it will make an entry for that page, so that if some other client requests for the same page, that can be provided to that client as soon as possible, right? So this was the processing of the request. Next, let's understand what is URL. As I told you, it provides the names to the pages, right? URL stands for the uniform resource locator. URL serves as the page's worldwide name, right? It provides the common name for the pages worldwide, right? URL have three parts. What are its three parts? First is the protocol, also called as scheme. Second is the DNS name of the machine on which the page is located, right? First is protocol, second is the DNS name of the machine, right? Second, third is a local name uniquely identifying the specific page, that is the local name of that file residing on the machine or the server, right? For let's understand how it is, how the name is given. Here I have written in the blue that http slash www.cs.vu.ni.videoindex.en.html, right? So let's understand how it is broken into different parts. As I told you that URL is consists of the three parts. First is the protocol, second is the DNS name, and third is the its local name, right? The protocol will be the HTTP, then the DNS name of the host will be www.cs.vu.ni, right? And the file name will be the video/index-en.html, right? So we have broke it into the three parts. The file name is the path relative to the default web directory, right? File, what is the file name? It is the local name where it is residing in the web directory. Now generally we have the static pages on the web, right? So what are the static pages? Static pages are the pages in which there is no change in the information stored on the pages. They only the information will remain constant on that page. Next, let's understand what is HTML. HTML is used to design these web pages. HTML stands for the Hypertext Markup Language. HTML allows user to produce web pages that include text, graphic, video, pointers to other web pages and more, right? So HTML is used to design these web pages. HTML is a markup language or a language for describing document how document are to be formatted, right? How document will look like, how document can be made. This all can be done with the help of the HTML. It contains various type of text to perform various functions, right? How can we design a web page? By the help of the HTML, which contain different types of tag. You must have heard or you must have read, like body tag, right? BR tag, paragraph tag, etc., right? So with the help of these tags we can perform the various functions on the web page. Next, various other languages that can be used for these web pages are the XML, XSL, extensible markup language, extensible style language, and also XHTML, the extended hypertext markup language, right? All these languages can be used to design these web pages. Now as I told you about the static pages, let's understand what are dynamic web pages. Dynamic web pages, the information stored on these pages may change according to the time. These are the real-time pages, like you must have heard about, like the reservation portals on which like we reserve some either for the trains, either for the train or for the flight. Like so information on these pages changes on the continuous basis. So these pages come under the category of the dynamic web pages. Dynamic web pages are created, these can be created both on the server and the client side, right? Server side generation, let's see how server side generation is done. The server side generation involve the following steps, right? First, user fills the form and form sent back. Then third step is handed to the CGI. Right, let's understand with the help of the diagram. Here is the user, which user fills the form in the first step, then it's send the form to the server, then it's handed over to CGI script, then CGI queries to the database. Then if the record is found, then CGI builds a page, then CGI builds a page and then it's returned to the server in the sixth itself. Then it's returned to the browser and finally the page is displayed to the user. So these are the method of generating dynamic documents on the server side. Next, understand the generation of these pages on the client side. CGI, PHP, JSP and ASP scripts solve the problem of handling forms and interaction with database on the server side, right? These languages will help the these languages provide help for the database, right? Next, web pages can be written in XML. Then as I told you before, the languages which can be which we can use to write the web pages, then XML can be used and then it is converted to the HTML according to the XSL file, right? So we can convert XML file can be converted into the HTML with the help of the XSL file. Then JavaScript programs can perform the arbitrary computation. Whatever the extra functioning is to be done on that page, that will be performed with the help of the JavaScript. Then finally, whatever the plugins and the helper applications are needed can be performed and can be used to display the content in the variety of the formats, right? So this is the client side generation. In this slide we are finishing our topic over here only. In the next slide we will start with the new topic, right? Thank you.